What's up guys, this is Jake, and in this video I'm going to be going over exactly how I'd start over from scratch with dropshipping if I only had $250. So this may relate to a lot of people out there, so maybe this video will help you out. Now first things first, I do want to say that I don't think that starting out with only a few $100s is an optimal strategy. You know, I have and always will recommend that you save up to $2,000 before you start dropshipping, and that you also have a steady income stream, you know, pretty much just a job. So that way you aren't under pressure to immediately produce results and you're not getting emotionally attached, because it's going to be hard to be level-headed and objective with all of your business decisions if you only have a few $100s, and if you feel like, oh well, this is my only shot. If I run out of this, you know, I'm gonna get kicked out of my house and I'm gonna be, you know, like begging for blocks of cheese on the street and stuff. So you definitely don't want to feel, you know, that type of pressure when you're starting out with your first business, which is why I always recommend that you go ahead and get a job and have a steady income stream. So in actuality, if I was starting over from scratch, the first thing I would do is get a job, and then I would also start doing graphic design freelance work online. And between those two things, I could probably work my way up to about $3,000 to $4,000 a month, which would be plenty of income to go ahead and restart and establishing a dropshipping business. Now, with that said, I know that that's the answer that nobody wants to hear, so we're just going to go ahead and jump into how I would do it with $250 and maybe to help you guys out. So let's go ahead and get into some of the math. So the upfront cost is going to be $29 a month for the Shopify basic plan, and then it's going to be $14 a year for our domain name. Yes, you absolutely need a domain name. All the costs I'm covering here are absolutely necessary. And I put here logo for $5. Now, in most cases, you're going to want to spend $40 to $50 and get a higher quality logo. However, in this case, with such a limited budget, I would go ahead and get a $5 logo off of Fiverr.com. Or if you have a graphic design background, which I took a few years of graphic design in high school, I would probably just design the logo myself if I was this short on funds. So next, we're going to move into the apps, and if you've seen any of my previous videos where I talk about apps, you know that I recommend the same 4 apps for any dropshipping store. There's other ones you can use, but these are the bare minimum. So the first one's abandonment protector. So this is just email marketing. This is abandoned cart follow-up emails. You can send newsletters with this as well, and you can send a lot of different emails. So this is kind of your email marketing app. And then Crush.pix is going to improve your loading speed of all of your pages. It's going to shrink the file sizes of all your images, so it's really important to have, because you want to have a really user-friendly store, because if you don't, it's going to lower conversions and everything. The next app is going to be Overlow, and CrushPix and Overlow both have a free plan and they have paid plans. So in this case, we'd be starting out with the free plans. So Overlow is how we're going to fulfill our orders, so that way we don't have to do everything manually within AliExpress. And then the last app is going to be Looks, which is $19 a month after, I believe it's a 2-week trial. I could be wrong. I get all the trials mixed up sometimes. But with that said, this is going to total up to around $50-ish. So our remaining budget is going to be around $200, and we're going to use the rest of that budget strictly on promotion and getting traffic to our store. So when it comes to store setup and product selection, given the tiny budget, we're going to have to be extremely picky with our product selection, because we want to maximize the chances that it's going to work. We can't really go out there and test 10 different products with, you know, a budget of a few $100s. That's just not sufficient. We only have enough budget to really test one product, and we don't even have a large enough budget to, you know, completely flesh out our testing. So we have to be very precise with everything we're doing. So if you want to make sure that you're picking the correct product and you want to be extremely precise, I would recommend you watch my 50-minute in-depth product research video, which I'll link in the description. That video will pretty much cover everything in regards to what products are good, how to know whether it's going to sell or not, and then every single method that I actually use myself to go out there and find these products. So I'd recommend watching that video after this one. But in a nutshell, you're just going to make sure that the product is viral on social media so that it has high engagement on its Facebook video ads. So you want to make sure that the product is, being advertised on Facebook by other drop shippers. So you want to find it in video ads, and then you want to make sure that those video ads do have high engagement. And then you also want to make sure that multiple stores are promoting the product. So the more people selling it, the more likely it is that it's a good product and that you'll be able to jump in and have success selling it as well. And then you also want to make sure that it's eye-catching, that it's something that would make you say, wow, it would jump out at you rather in your newsfeed. So it's something, picture if you're on social media and you saw it, would you be like, oh, that's boring as shit? Or would you be like, oh, wow, that's eye-catching, that's something you might click on and, it'll raise your curiosity. So you want to make sure it's an eye-catching type product. And then you also want to make sure that it solves a problem. So you don't want it to be some boring everyday product. You want it to be something that directly solves a problem. So an easy example of that is a lot of health and beauty products. So especially beauty products, think of stuff like acne cream and those facial masks. The problem is people don't like having big red zits on their face, and these products help them to solve that problem. So you're looking for products that solve a problem because that's going to drastically increase the chances that it's going to be a winner. Now, one thing I forgot to put on this slide that you should also look out for is you want to make sure that the product is also not available in mainstream stores like Walmart, Target, stuff like that. So look for those qualities when you're doing your product research. And like I said, if you want a in-depth video on product research, I'll go ahead and link my complete product research guide for 2019 in the description of this video. And then once we've selected our product, we're confident we found a winning product, we know that's going to perform well, then we're going to go ahead and create a single product store around that product, which right now single product stores is pretty much the only thing I use when it comes to low ticket drop shipping. So it's definitely what I recommend. It works a lot better than general stores and everything like that because you have a brand image and it conveys a lot more trust, and the single product store is just a lot more efficient. And real quickly, I'll just show you an example of a single product store if you haven't seen one. So if we jump over here, you can see here's a single product store right here. So you can see it's based around just one single product. The home page is essentially a landing page, a sales page. It's got some FAQs, and then the products right here. And if we just click on any of these, you get taken to the product page. And yeah, it's got a nice little fleshed out description and everything. So yeah, that's pretty much all a single product store is. It's pretty simple. It's just one clean looking, professional looking store that just sells one single product. So that is the strategy I would recommend using with this, because the single product stores drastically raise the odds that the product you're testing is going to perform, versus if you just sell it on some store called Deals R Us or Trend Cities, you've probably seen all the generic names by now. You're going to have a lot better odds of succeeding with that product if you do it on a single product branded store. So I would highly recommend doing that. So that's what I would do. And then when it comes to driving traffic, which would be our next step after we've selected our product and we've went ahead and set up our store and everything, first off, right off the bat, Facebook and Google ads are just, they're not an option. They're a complete no-go because we simply don't have the required testing budget. But you're still going to want the Facebook Pixel installed, and then you're still going to want Google Analytics installed to gather data, so that way once you do end up hopefully earning enough to go ahead and gather data and then be able to test with Facebook and Google ads, you already have initial data. So you definitely still want to make sure you have a Facebook Pixel installed and Google Analytics installed, so that way you're gathering the customer data that we're going to be getting from our less expensive traffic sources. So our primary traffic source would be influencers. So we can use Instagram and we can use YouTube. So I know Instagram is the most common one, but I wanted to mention YouTube as well, because YouTube is definitely another one that you can use that not many people in e-com use, at least not as frequently as Instagram, because it does take a little bit more legwork, but it's still something you can do with a low budget. So covering Instagram first, Real quick, I do have a 1 hour completely free course. It's right here on YouTube. It doesn't send you off YouTube or anything. It's just another YouTube video. It's a 1 hour course on Instagram influencers, so I will link that in the description. However, in a nutshell, we'll quickly go over what I'd recommend doing. So you're going to want to look for smaller influencers within your niche that have solid engagement. So at least 5% plus engagement, the more the better. You can even shoot for 10% if you want. So by engagement, I mean what you do is you go ahead and look at their follower count, and then you look at how many likes and stuff they get on their photos. So if it's 50,000 followers and their 9 most recent pictures have an average of 5,000 likes, then that is roughly a 10% engagement rate on average. Now keep in mind, things like likes and comments can be fabricated, so sometimes you do want to look through the comments and see if they seem like real comments from real accounts and real people. That's something that's covered a little bit more in the Instagram influencer course that I'll link below. So we want to look for the 5% engagement. We want to stick between 50,000 to 150,000 followers, because we want smaller influencers that are going to be cheaper and give us cheaper shout outs, and hopefully then aren't completely saturated with their whole feed covered in promotions. So we preferably want to find one of these influencers that has little to no previous promotions on their feed, because that's going to work out best for us, because their audience is relatively untapped and they're not completely immune to daily or weekly product promotions. And then preferably we want to go out there and find an actual influencer page versus like a meme page. So I go over that in depth in the Instagram influencer course. However, just real quickly, an influencer is just essentially an actual person in the niche, and a meme page would be like funny cat pictures or something. But I cover that more in depth in the Instagram course. So what we want to do is we want to shoot for a post that's going to be up for 8 to 12 hours, and we want to try and negotiate to spend under $30 for that post. So then once we've done that, we want to go ahead and schedule the post to go up during the day for our main target market area. So normally most of the accounts, the majority of the followers are probably going to be from the US. So if that is the case, then we want the post to go up throughout the daytime during the US, like from noon to like late afternoon, early evening. Like you wouldn't want the post to go up at 2 a.m. and stay up from 2 a.m. to 10 a.m. because everyone's going to be asleep. So an easy example would be have the post go up at 12 p.m. noon, and then it would be up all day until 8 p.m. that night. So that's a good time window that you can go ahead and use. So with a limited budget, you're going to need to spend extra time and be extremely thorough finding quality influencers to maximize the odds of a profitable promotion, since with our remaining budget of $200-ish, we're only going to be able to do 5 or 6 of these. So you want to make sure that you're being extremely in-depth with your research on here, which is why I recommend after this video going ahead and checking out the Instagram influencer free course in the description, because that will help you out a lot with your vetting of influencers and so on and so forth. So the next type of influencer we can utilize is YouTube. So YouTube influencers work very similar to Instagram, except the main difference is you're going to always send them the product versus just paying for a promotion. So YouTube videos are a lot more interactive than Instagram photos or even Instagram videos. So you want to make sure that the influencer always has your product in their hand and they can always demonstrate it or show it on camera. So you're always going to want to send them the product. So with this method, especially with dropshipping, will take a little bit longer, but it's definitely worth getting the products in their hands. So we want to go out there and find smaller active YouTube channels within our niche. So a rough estimate can be between 25K to 50K subs, and then we want to make sure that they're active recently. So they've uploaded a video in the last week. We want to see that they've uploaded regularly, and then we also want to make sure that the recent videos are getting a good amount of views. So if they have 50K subs but their recent videos only get like 100, 200 views, then we probably want to avoid that. We want to make sure that the recent videos are getting a good amount of views, so we can go with 10% of the sub count. However, this number is very open to fluidity, because with YouTube, it's a lot about viral traffic. So you know, you could have one video that has 1,000 views, another one that has 300,000 views. So you kind of just want to look at what their normal videos do, the ones that don't go viral. You want to see where they're at, because that's usually what you can assume how many eyes you're going to get to your product. So that's why I said 10%, but the more the better. Obviously, you kind of have to use your better judgment in this scenario. So the next thing we need to do from there is we're going to look in the description to find a way to contact them. Most of the time they have a business email, or they maybe their Instagram's on there, or their Twitter, some way we can go out there and message them. And then we want to offer to send them our product for free in exchange for a review or shout out in a video. So let's say you were selling, I don't know, like a yoga mat, and you found a yoga YouTuber and you're like, hey, we'll send you our yoga mat if you know, do a video with it and then put our store link in the description or something like that. And you can also, with YouTube, you can send it to them for free. And what's different is what you'll primarily be doing with this, that I actually forgot to put in the slide, but this is actually one of the biggest things with YouTube, is primarily you'd be giving them some type of affiliate commission for every sale that they send your way. So there's a few different apps and stuff. If you just type in like affiliate in the Shopify App Store, you'll be able to find apps. The one I'm most familiar with is called Reversion. So if you're going to use the YouTube influencer method as well, you're probably going to want to send them the product, and then you're also going to want to give them a special coupon code that they can give to all of their subscribers. So that way they get, you know, maybe 10-20% of each sale. The customers get a discount, and then you're getting completely free traffic. So it's a win-win for everyone, for the customer because they're getting a discount, for the YouTuber because they're getting a share of the profit and a free product, and for you because you're getting free traffic. So YouTube is definitely a very underutilized resource when it comes to dropshipping. But for YouTube to work, the product does have to be of decent quality. So it can't be a complete hunk of shit, because if it is, then, you know, they're going to be able to tell, the influencer is going to be able to tell it's a complete hunk of shit when you send it to them, and they're probably not going to want to promote it, because most people don't want to screw over their audience by promoting a piece of shit. So with YouTube, you want to make sure the product is at least of decent quality. It doesn't need to be like a Gucci watch or anything, but you want to make sure it's at least decent quality. So this does mean when you're using YouTube influencers versus Instagram, the range of products you can use does shrink down a little bit. So with that said, from there, what we need to do is we just need to analyze our results. So if we have a few profitable shoutouts, what we want to do is rinse and repeat the process with influencers of a similar size and similar engagement, so we can figure out, you know, what type of influencers are working well, and then we can continue to try and scale out to other influencers of a similar type. And then we want to try and do this until we can save up at least $2,000 in capital. And then we can use that $2,000 to start moving into Facebook and Google ads. And the cool thing with this is, at this point, if we've already been able to generate a few $1,000s in profit, we also have a lot of customer data on our Facebook pixels. So when we move over to Facebook to reinvest our profits, we're going to have a lot of data to start out with. So it's going to be really beneficial to go ahead and do that. And if you want to learn more about Facebook, I'll also link a free Facebook targeting course down in the description as well. And then from here, we would just scale on Facebook accordingly. So that is exactly what I would do if I had to start over from dropshipping from scratch with $250 and getting a job and doing freelance work online wasn't an option. Now, if that was an option, I would do that, and I'd probably still do the same process, except I would also throw some paid advertising in there as well, since my budget would be larger. But that's how I'd start a store, with a very low budget. So if your budget's really low and for some reason you can't get a job, I would go ahead and follow this blueprint. Make sure to check out the free courses in the description, because that'll help you execute it with a higher success rate. With that said, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, and I'll see you guys in another video.